Have you secured your seat at the table, or did you have to create your own table? And I'm going to ask Desiree to kick it off and try to keep it. I know it's a big question. Try to keep it 1 minute so that we can just for time constraints, but start with Desiree, start with you.
So when you say a minute, you mean an hour, right? Oh, okay. A minute. Oh, the time pressure's on. I love this question, and actually, I'm a panelist for a show called Brooklyn Savvy TV, and I remember one of our guests, a very senior level woman, accomplished, established. She said, "If it's not your time, it's okay. Create, prepare, and wait. Create, prepare, and wait." And I want to re-emphasize that because you always have to be ready. You can't say, "Oh, no, that's coming in a few years, maybe 5 years, 10. It's a part of my 10-year plan." You get ready now as if you're about to drive your dream car. You're about to open the door to the house that you've always imagined. You're about to travel on that extravagant vacation. Get yourself ready as if that opportunity is going to happen now. It's going to happen yesterday. When it comes to the seats, once again, like I said at the beginning, if it's not there, imagine it, then create it, and then execute and make it happen. It's all here. It's all about your mindset and you believing in yourself. And I always say, if you don't believe in you, how do you expect anyone else to? If you don't feel that that space is worthy of you, another point is someone else is going to take it, right? So don't give up your seat too quick because someone else is so ready to sit down in it. So my basic recommendation that I live and breathe on is create, prepare, and wait, and get ready because your time is now.
That was awesome.
Less
That
than a minute.
was okay. Who wants to follow after that? You can follow anyone that you can follow after that.
Well, I'll go. I created my own table. I created my own table. I created my own seats. I didn't wait for anybody to tell me that I could. And, you know, Desiree kind of hit it on the head, create, prepare, wait. Only thing is, I didn't wait. I created, I prepared, and I did all at the same time simultaneously. I put myself out there. I made mistakes. I learned. I reached out for mentorship and coaching, and I researched because I knew that what I wanted to do and what I needed to do was powerful. I knew that it was a calling. I knew that it was something that needed to happen on my destiny plan that everybody has. And I went for it. And I had a lot of people telling me, "Oh, girl, you're crazy. You can't do that. Who told you? What made you an expert?" The person who created PhDs gave themselves the first PhD. They didn't wait. They didn't say, "Hey." So I decided that in a field of where everybody is saying, "I can coach you, I can be a consultant," I created something that I knew had value, more value than what all the other business coaches and consultants were having. And I put it out there and it caught on like wildfire. It caught on because people understood that if they don't have basic knowledge, they're not going to be able to create their own seats, let alone pull up to somebody else's table and grab a seat. So I created my own lane and I stay in my lane and I walk in it. And I welcome anybody who wants to come into my lane because I'm going to sit you at my table and then I'm going to teach you how to get your own.
I'd go next. It's so interesting. I feel like Desiree and Rashida have both hit the nail on the head. And you asked the question, how did I get a place for myself or created a place for myself at the table? And what I will say is that before I could even start that process, I had to rid myself of negative self-talk. Because I come from a home where my mom, who did the best that she could, she had a lack mentality. I didn't know what that was when I was growing up. But I also knew that every time you asked her anything, her first response was, I don't have it or I can't do it. And then I would watch her try everything in her power to do it. And as I grew older, I realized that it was just a lack mindset and I inherited that. So before I could even assume my seat at any table, let alone create a table for myself, I had to intentionally rid myself of negative self-talk and change my mindset and realize that I am good enough. And what is good enough anyway? Someone else sets a standard and say that this is what you should live by. And because we're linear and we grow up in a society that tells us we have to be a certain way, we fit in and we try to fit into the mold. The problem is that I never fit anywhere. And I spent most of my life trying to fit in and just ended up standing out even more. And so the way I created a place for myself at different tables, and where one thought that I didn't belong, I, without any hesitation, created my own table, was knowing that I came here not for myself, but to serve other people. Some things have been deposited in me that I cannot leave this earth with those things, because I'm going to be doing a disservice to the people I was called to serve. So I had to get out there and let people know that I have something to offer. And Dr. Miles Monroe says that when you become a person of value, people will pay for you. So I had to be intentional about developing myself and investing in myself, no matter how much I had to spend, knowing that it was necessary to put something out there that was valuable in order to enrich someone else's life.
That's so much. And there's very little that I'm going to add to what these ladies have said, because they've all nailed it. Just Shauna K. I'm sorry, is it Shauna K or just Shauna?
Either one is fine.
Okay. When Shauna was talking about negative self-talk, it just made me think about imposter syndrome. And that's something that I've always had. It's something that sometimes I continue to have. But somebody taught me something so valuable, and that was, you don't have to actually totally feel like you have to come in and 100% transform someone's life. It can be as little bit, as little as a mini transformation. So something that helps them be a little bit better than they were yesterday or than they were last year. And that mini transformation can lead to, bigger realizations and all of those things that they can have. So don't think that you have to come in and wave some sort of magic wand. Like, your gifts are enough. Your God-given gifts and talents are enough. And know that those definitely have an impact on the people who you serve.
I agree with everything that the ladies have said. I think for me, similar to Desiree, create, plan, prepare. I prepared, I created, I was ready. So I didn't have to build the table. It presented itself to me, and there was no one there. And so I claimed it, right? So I didn't have to build it. It was just the opportunities laid itself in front of me. I was like, well, of course, I can be the person who trains your staff and make that happen. I can come in and be your angel in the outfield to get your staff to be at the level of service that you need them to be at. Because I'm real clear on my code switching. I can have a really great come to Jesus talk with the staff and have a very eloquent conversation with the general manager, right? It's whatever needs to happen. I'm very clear that the different languages I speak are urban, uptown, and Brooklyn hood rat, if necessary, because if the situation calls for it, that's what you have to do. So preparing yourself, what they're saying now, be ready so you don't have to get ready. I prepared, I was ready. And when the opportunity presented itself and no one else around claimed it, I claimed it as my own.
Molly, may I add on before we go to the next, just really quick, because I'm just super fired up right now. I just wanted to say, I love the comment about the negative self-talk, because I always talk about managing your inner critic. I actually going to shout out Karmisha, because she just had her women's empowerment event a week ago. And we talked about how, and I thought of it on the spot, you can be your worst enemy or you can be your biggest fan. And I want to spread the message for women to stop talking themselves out of greatness. You are destined for it. Own it, claim it. And one quote that I found for this presentation today that I loved is Maya Angelou said, each time a woman stands up for herself without knowing it, possibly without claiming it, she stands up for all women. So I just wanted to share that because you guys inspired me so much.
Thank you for that. Danette, do you have anything to add to this question?
Sure. So if we're talking about my professional W-2 life, uh, I never thought there wasn't a seat for me at the table. So that wasn't in my head. That wasn't in my thinking. And so I always sat at the table, and I oftentimes sat at the head. And so many people don't believe there is a seat for them at the table, but I went in there knowing that. That doesn't mean that I didn't fight to stay there or I didn't fight to get it, right? But I went in there knowing I had a seat. There was a seat with my name on it, whatever seat I wanted. Um, so that's my professional life, my W-2 life. For this self-employment journey, much like Latricia, the opportunities just presented themselves. So I just went after what felt good to me was serving people that needed. There was a need, as I said, and it felt good to me. It felt really good to me. It was speaking to me. And out of that came multiple opportunities, and then I seized them. So those opportunities could have come to someone else in my position, and maybe someone wouldn't have said, okay, let me go ahead and start my nonprofit. Let me go ahead and start this LLC. Let me go ahead and sit down with these people and talk about this. Let me go ahead and get this grant funding. And so I think part of it, a lot of it is definitely mindset, right? So my mindset coming in was I can have anything I wanted. And everything that I wanted professionally, I got. W-2 life. This life now, this new life, I don't know what I want, right? I want to continue to work in my purpose and my mission of helping people. So bottom line is we increase workplace representation of marginalized and BIPOC individuals. And all of my work does that, right? But workplace representation is however you define that. If that's W-2 employment, hey, that's great for you. If that is self-employment, right? So it is increasing our representation. And everything I do does that, whether it is this corporation asked me to come speak to their staff, whether it is I sit and do, I'm not a coach. I made the list of most innovative career coaches of 2020 by the Business Insider. They call me a coach. I am not a coach. I'm a strategist. So, but other people may not have seized those opportunities, right? And so that's the one thing I'll say. Like, I love that Latricia says these opportunities presented themselves. They came to her and she jumped on them. And I've seen very smart people, very capable people get opportunities laid at their feet and they don't seize them, whether it is because they don't believe they can do it, they don't think it's real. And so if you've been there and you've had opportunities come to you that you've walked away from or turned your back on, the more will come. Just don't do it again.